What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Abel here with STL Tones, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at our all-new plugin release, AmpHub. Now, this is going to be a subscription-based plugin. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the video, but for right now, let me take you guys on a tour of this all-new plugin platform. Okay, so looking at the interface, one thing you guys are going to notice is that it's a little bit different from the previous releases from STL Tones. It's got a different, more modern aesthetic to it. It looks really cool. If you look down here, you have these icons, which just make the whole thing just really intuitive and very user-friendly. Right now, we're in the amplifier section. Now, there's two different ways that you can cycle through your amplifiers. One way is to come up here to the preset drop-down list, head over to STL Tones, and you're going to have the list of amplifiers that you currently have available to you. Now, just realize that when you click on one of these presets, you're essentially bringing up an actual preset, meaning there's going to be a tone already set with that amplifier. You know, think of it as a jumping off point with that amp to kind of guide you along. But if you want to toggle through them independently without changing any of the variables, meaning you're not going to change the way you have the pedals in front set, the effects, or the cabinet section, then you can click on this button right here, and now you have the exact same drop-down list of all of your different amps, except when you change it here, it's not going to change all the other variables. Now, to the left, you have your pedal section here. If you can see, you have three different slots that you can run simultaneously, and clicking in here, you see you have a whole bunch of options. I'm sure you guys see some very popular, very familiar faces in this section here. There's a bunch of cool stuff, and just keep in mind that they're going to continuously add to this. So what you see here is not all you're going to get. It is going to keep growing as the plugin grows. Now, moving over to your cab section, you have a left and right. Both of them are identical in terms of the options you have for each one, but you do have two of them. Now, in this drop-down list, what you can do is go ahead and pick your cab. Once you do that, you'll be prompted to pick your microphone. Once you've picked that, on the right-hand side, you can adjust the distance, the angle. You have a high-pass filter, a low-pass filter, and a resonance knob. Now, in between both of them, you have this sort of like toggle button that you can move back and forth just to kind of hone in on that sweet spot between both sides. Now, what you can do is you can, essentially bring up two of the same cabs with two different microphones and blend them together to find the perfect tone, or you can have two completely different rigs on either side and just get really experimental with it. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it here. Now, moving on to our post effects section, it's the same thing. You have three slots that you can run simultaneously. And when you click in here, obviously same thing, you have a whole bunch of different effects that you can choose from, digital delay, digital reverb, chorus, phaser, whatever it is that you may need post. And like I said before, they're going to continuously add to this. So this is going to grow and grow as you use the plugin. On top of that, you have a tuner, which you can also mute if you don't want to hear the guitar signal coming out of the speakers while you tune. That's pretty cool and convenient. You also have a noise gate, an input, and an output knob. Now, moving on to the right-hand side, you have your routing, which is your ability to change between mono and stereo. To the right of that, you have a lock button. Now, what that is for is that it gives you the ability to lock in the routing however you prefer it. Some presets are going to be set to be in stereo, some presets are going to be set to be in mono, but if you want to audition and listen to everything in either mono or stereo, you click this little lock button here, it's going to lock that in place, which means that regardless of what preset you bring up, it's going to stay in mono or stay in stereo. To the left-hand side, you have your preset section where you can set up your preset banks or where you can access the stock preset banks that came with the plugin. To the left of that, you have a button that's going to resize the plugin itself. So if you want it to be a lot bigger and take up the majority of the screen, you can do that. If you want it to be medium size, or if you want it to be really small and out of the way, however you want to run your plugin, you can do that. Okay, so the way AmpHub is actually going to work is it is going to be a subscription-based plugin for $10 a month. Now, if you approach it from the aspect of the idea that it's going to keep growing in value as they continue to add amplifiers, continue to add different effect pedals in front of and behind the amplifier, different cabinets, basically every aspect of the plugin is going to continue to grow and continue to add value while you guys only have to pay $10 a month. That's actually a really, really cool idea for people who really enjoy changing tone all the time. If you're constantly looking for something new, if you're constantly trying to get a different sound, or you're just waiting for your favorite amplifier to come out and plug it in form, assuming it's not already here, it's just a really awesome service, and I'm so glad that something like this finally does exist. Now, if you don't want to go for the subscription service, there is going to be an alternative. It is called AmpHub Player. What that's going to do is it's going to allow you to purchase various aspects of the plugin separately. So that way, if you don't want to go the route of a subscription, you can still get all the benefit of the AmpHub platform. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a few tones live here with you guys so you have a good idea of what to expect when you guys get this thing out of the box and start playing around with it. So we're going to start with the dual rectifier, and I'm going to build a high gain tone, and then let's start messing with some of the cabs and some of the effects. So let's get started with this. Obviously, that sounds really good right out of the box. Let's see what pedal we're running here in front. Of course, we're running that 433, which sounds absolutely amazing. Let's try this Maxon OD 808 overdrive. I really like this one. So now let's use this tone to build our cab section. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here with the left side only so I can just hone in on what that sounds like. And what I'm gonna do is try to build a brighter tone here on the left side and just kind of click around and see what kind of sounds we get. Cool, I think that left side's sounding pretty good. I'm looking for that top end sizzle. Let's go to the right side and let's build up our low end portion of the tone. And let's start, just same thing. Let's start clicking around and see what this sounds like. All right, that sounds really good. That's the low end that I'm looking for. So now let's use this middle toggle and start blending them till I find a sweet spot. Right, so now let's take the tone that we've built, and I want to toggle through some other high gain amp heads. We're going to leave everything else the same, the cab section, the pedal that we're running in front, and let's just start switching through some different amps so you guys have an idea of what these other amps are going to do to that tone. But now let's build a clean tone. Let's start off with this Vox AC30 model. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard some of the previous ones, but the Vox AC30 that STL does is by far the best plugin version of the Vox AC30 I've ever heard, and this is definitely no exception. But let's start building a tone off of this. All right, let's start in front of it and see what we have here. Let's throw in a basic compressor, pump the volume a little bit. That sounds really good. I know that's not 100% clean, but we'll get to a super clean tone in a second. What I do like to do is like low gain, lead type of tones. Those are pretty cool. So what I want to do now is throw in just a little bit of dirt in here and kind of get it pumped a little bit. So let's throw this drive up. Let's balance there. Tone. Let's bring this here. Overall volume down because that's going to be pretty loud. Love the way that sounds. Let's see what we have in the effects section. We have running a reverb, and that's a little bit hot right now for me. So let's throw in a delay. Let's bring that down, feedback down. Let's go ahead and sync it to the BPM. See what that sounds like. That sounds really good as well. All right, so now I want to build a clean tone. So let's see what we have here on our drop-down list. I'm going to start off from a preset, and we can work from there. Let's do this bass band. Let's listen to this. Now that has some beautiful breakup. Let's try adding a compressor to it. Pump the volume a little bit. We can further clean that up by splitting this coil. Let's hear that. That sounds amazing. We have a digital delay here. Let's kind of back that off a little bit. Let's bring our feedback down. And actually, let's saturate it a little more. Let's throw a reverb behind it. I just kind of want this fading in. I want the tone to do most of the work. So let's just keep that low. See what that sounds like. Man, that sounds really, really good. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when you guys are approaching this plugin. It's so user-friendly, it's so intuitive, it's so simple just to go in here and start, just changing pedals around. And if you already have an arranged idea through either hardware or through other things that you've used, it's gonna be the exact same thing and it sounds very, very good. So you're gonna be able to stack pedals exactly the way you would outside of the box. You're gonna be able to adjust these amp EQs the way you normally would. It all just runs and sounds extremely smooth. All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps it up for me. I hope you guys have a very good idea of what's to come with AmpHub. And like I said, this is a subscription-based service, so there's an endless amount of just value that's going to continue to go up as you have this plugin. It's going to be $10 a month to you, yet the value inside of that plugin is just going to continue to grow. So I hope you guys found this helpful. If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you guys on the next video.